Dwayne.
What
We're
up,
doing
Jake?
something wild today. What are we doing today?
A little Q&A today.
I'm excited.
Me too. We would like to say a big thank you to everyone that listens, everyone that likes, everyone that follows. It's our goal and our hope that we're of service, or maybe people can hear something that might help them. And we've actually been getting some questions from our
comments
from
and
our
questions.
podcast.
Yeah. So I wanted to. This is the best way. If somebody's asking us a ton of questions, sometimes I'll respond or whatever, on YouTube or Instagram. But this is kind of a way we do it. So if you guys ask questions, make sure you tag one of us, and then we'll get those questions together like we did.
Yeah.
And we have 12 of them that we picked. We get quite a bit of them. So we took the 12 that we think would be the most help for everyone. And I'll start with the first one from Emily. So this is for you, Emily. Dwayne and Jason, how do you find the strength to resist cravings when everything around you seems to trigger the urge to relapse? These are, I like to look at the words.
Yeah.
How do you find the strength?
Strength. Oh, it's a strong man.
Mm-hmm. So whenever you're thinking of like resisting,
Yes.
griming it out, we did a whole show on cravings. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we would encourage you to listen to the show on cravings. Nice one in regards to the word. I love that too, Jay. The word choice here, the resist. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I know I'm swimming upstream if I'm in resistance. And a nice way to know that I'm in resistance is when my stomach's doing figure eights, when things aren't going my way, when I'm irritable and discontent, my skin is crawling. And another way to say that is I'm resisting reality. Mm-hmm. How far do you think I'm going to get resisting reality? It's like, I'm not going to do too well. And so everything, this is a great question. It's very common, and especially new in recovery, we don't know how to navigate this. Mm-hmm. So we need some helpful tools to help us navigate this resisting reality. This idea of cravings and this idea of, everything around me is triggering me. And we share this often in many podcasts. But what's wrong with me is you.
Yes.
And if you were different, I wouldn't be triggered. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not interested in being the victim of my life anymore, the victim of outside circumstances anymore, the victim of my surroundings. If I'm interested in taking responsibility for my recovery. Mm-hmm. This is Recovered Addict Podcast. Like I have recovered. I've done the work necessary to not be that same person. And the work necessary is taking responsibility for what's going on in my life and for what's going on in my head.
Yes.
So you or the outside circumstances are not the trigger. Mm-hmm. I'm the fucking trigger. I'm the thing with the judgment.
Taking responsibility
I'm the thing with the fear.
to myself.
I'm the one that has the perspective of I'm being triggered. I have to take responsibility in order to get my power back.
Yes.
If I don't have any power, then there's a little hope for me staying sober. Like it's not going to work.
Well, that's what, and this is what I want to tell Emily. When everything around you seems to trigger, that means you have no power. You know what? I guarantee you woke up late. You started the morning with no power. You woke up late, you're running late to work, you put clothes on, halfway put your makeup on. I'm just guessing, Emily, here, maybe not. You're stressed out, you looked on your text, you talked to two relatives that were pissed off at the aunt, you listened to some negative shit, you get to work, all around you's chaos, you can't believe it, your boss is yelling at you, your environment is fucked.
Yeah.
So if you're just a victim to your environment, everything around you will trigger you because victims get triggered.
Very good. Very good. And victims never recover.
They never do.
So
that urge. Well, let's get into the urge because, I think of like urge is like sexual to me. Like the urge, like I get this sexual urge to, to flirt with this person or have sex with this person or whatever. Urge is like, it's a sexual word to me. So when I get this urge to relapse, it's like this sexual draw to this liquid that I'm going to put in my body.
That's so good. It's so good. That is so powerful. That's
the lure.
That's the same as the spirit of Cain.
Yeah.
And the biblical references, sin is crouching at your door. and you invite it in,
Mm-hmm.
and it has its way with you.
Yeah, that's sexual.
And
yeah.
it's a sexual reference. And so me and my misbehavior have partaked in this union.
Mm-hmm.
And that union has given birth to something.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's given birth to is my hellish life. And that drives me to relapse. So this life is hell. I'm not willing to do this. I might as well just drink. And so taking responsibility, looking at this urge, looking at this, it basically is just a surrender to my lesser self.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm surrendering to the shadow. That's the urge.
So how you handle the urge, and I think this is really important where everything around you seems to trigger you, Emily, and finding strength is doing hard things and doing them consistently.
Very good.
Get up fucking early. Go to the fucking gym. Do cardio till you can't hardly stand if you're physically able to. Do cardio to sweat out the addiction.
Very good.
Like fucking do hard things. Like work 10, 12 hours at your work.
Very good.
Don't complain. Just fucking work hard. Like whatever you do, go do it more and do it harder and do it more. And guess what's going to happen? You begin to slowly claw your way to where you're not the victim anymore. And you're starting to take control of some of the things in your life that are little. And then you get, like you talked about last podcast, you get the wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that creates momentum. And then momentum creates motivation. And
Absolutely.
then motivation creates, next thing you know, you're a little fucking disciplined Emily.
Kicking ass.
Yeah.
And now you're the creator of your world. You're not the victim of your world.
You're looking good. You're not having your addiction anymore. There's no triggers. The only thing that triggers you is that, oh, it's 6 a.m. I'm ready to go to the gym. Let's go.
That's powerful
Let's get
existence.
jacked. Yeah.
That's a design for success. And that's the Emily I want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know
Everybody
the Emily
does.
that's kicking ass.
Okay, Marcus, what strategies do you recommend for rebuilding trust with family and friends after it's been broken due to addiction? Okay. You did this.
This is a phenomenal question. And this is a very difficult practice. And we say practice intentionally because it's going to take effort and it's going to take continuous effort. And a nice approach to this is, well, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So you know what? You are sorry. You're a sorry individual, you and your addiction. And the sorry was never sufficient for the harm that I caused. My family, my friends, my loved ones, they heard sorry so many times, but my behavior never changed. The only way that an individual can rebuild trust is after an appropriate amends, which is me taking responsibility for my side of the street, my side of the harm in the relationship, a genuine commitment to never be that type of individual again. So I have to actually change. I have to actually amend the behavior. I can't continue the poor behavior and rebuild trust. So I actually have to be something different, amend the behavior. And then some of the literature is very clear. It says 20 years of drunkenness is not going to be set right by one sincere apology.
Yeah,
I have to show them with my feet over and over and over that I'm a different individual. I was famous for ruining Christmas. I destroyed 4 Christmases in a row. Is Dwayne's drunk and off on a bender? Is he alive? Is he in a ditch drunk? Should we give him his presents? Does he even care? 4 years in a row, Jay, I ruined Christmas for my family. Christmas is right around the corner. It's 2 weeks. It took another 4 years for my family to stop watching me during the holidays. What's he going to do next? Is he okay? Is he starting to drink now? It literally took the same amount of time I caused harm to start rebuilding that trust. So I'm not saying that that's necessary. Right. It's not a 4-year like concrete plan. However, my actions are what's going to rebuild the trust. They were so comfortable with my continued, consistent, changed behavior They knew I wasn't going to be a problem. I wasn't going to pick up the drink, and I wasn't going to ruin Christmas. I wasn't going to make the holiday about me.
That's that. When you think about that, and Marcus said something I thought this was funny right off the bat. He says, "What strategies do you recommend?" He instantly goes to the how.
Yeah.
It's like, I need a hack. I need a little shortcut. I need a list. What things do I need to do? You know, like you want strategy, but you need to understand the why before you can get into the how.
Very good.
Like, why does your family not trust you? Well, you did, and I was thinking I was just watching a show on Notre Dame Church, you know.
Oh, yes. Phenomenal.
And that
Phenomenal.
spiral years ago burnt. You're like part of the church burnt down. And it has taken them years and years and years, and they finally almost have it done with rebuilding. How long did it take for the fire to destroy the beautiful, one of the top wonders of the world?
Less than 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Yeah. And it's taken years, tons of engineers, tons of hard work, millions upon millions of dollars France has spent to get it to look like kind of halfway what it was from back in the day. But it's been rebuilt. It's still fucked. Like it's not what it was. And it never will be that. So time, like you said, that rebuilding takes time.
Takes time.
And a lot of energy. And a lot of work. There's no how-to strategy, Marcus. It's you doing esteemable acts.
Very good.
Every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And being of service to your family and letting them know there's no gimmick here.
I love it, Jay.
There's no gimmick. Like,
did you know this is one of the least sympathetic podcasts there is? It's like, we don't got no sympathy for your years of bullshit. You're going to have to have some years of discipline and counterintuitive behavior in order to rebuild that.
This is what we all need.
Yes, yes.
What we're talking to Emily, Marcus. We're going to be talking to Alex and Isabella and Muhammad.
And now, especially during the holidays, it goes double for me.
Yes.
It's time to double down on my program.
Yeah, we did a whole podcast on that.
Yes, it's time to double down on my recovery. It's time to double down on my spiritual connection, because now is when things get slippery. Things get slippery. Why, when I go to the mall, there's this crazy energy? Why, when I'm on the highway right now during the holidays, is there this crazy energy? People getting run off the road. Why is everyone stressed out? Why are people maxing out their credit cards, buying presents they don't need for people they hate?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this. That's the energy you're swimming in right now. Excellent time
double down
to double down on my efforts. Excellent time to recommit to what I know works. And you know what? I kind of like the word strategy. Yes, we want to be practical and know the why, but having a shortcut is a losing strategy.
Yeah, exactly. It's the hack. Or
yeah, absolutely. I got
like a quick way.
But having a double down approach, a recommitment to my action approach. What do I know? What are the things that I know that work well? Going to the gym.
Yes.
Prayer and meditation.
Yes.
Fucking get up and work. Provide. Feel accomplished. Eating well. Paying attention to my nutrition, sleeping well, paying attention to my recovery, having a spiritual practice. I know those things work.
What?
Like double down on those now.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. It's like I was talking to an addict here recently, and I'm like, have you asked your family what they're comfortable with boundaries? Not what you're comfortable with. Because they came in saying, I'm recovering. And here's what would help me as the victim of recovery. If my family, once again, if they could sacrifice for me.
Yeah.
How about we flip the fucking switch and you fucking sacrifice for them? Ask them. Maybe your sister only wants to see you once a month. Don't get your fucking feelings hurt. Prepare for that.
Yeah.
Double down, like you said. Get a strategy. Let's go. Once a month, no matter what happens,
I'll be
hell, pain, sleet, I'm the fucking Pony Express. I'm the mailman. I will be there. I will be consistent. And I'll see my sister for 4, 6, 8 hours in that time frame when she invites me for dinner every week.
So powerful.
Every month.
So fucking powerful, bro. That is that's the amendment.
Yes.
And involving them, the ask, that'll rebuild trust.
Okay, Marcus, we're done with you.
Excellent question.
Excellent question. Okay, Sophia. I love that. I don't even know a Sophia, but I've loved that name. Like, there's probably like an old. Maybe I was married to a Sophia a long time ago, and another.
Yeah, when the church the church burnt
I
down.
cannot think of anybody. Yeah, I cannot think of anybody that I know is named Sophia. But every time I hear that name, I love it.
I have a couple,
You know a couple, yeah.
fantasy Sophia's for French girls.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Sophia said, as an addict, I often
Yes.
feel overwhelmed with guilt and shame. How can I cope with these feelings and move towards healing? Guilt and shame. Hit it, Dwayne.
Bro, thank you for the tee up there. We've done a couple podcasts on this already. And, it's important to understand that the structure of my mind is where guilt and shame come from.
Mm-hmm.
The way my mind is built. And that guilt and shame is so heavy that it can take me out. It's so heavy and so powerful and so corrosive that it can cause me to relapse. I believe that strongly because it was my experience. I had a relapse built off of guilt and shame. Now, when I start to readdress the structure of my mind, the way my brain understands a situation or the way my brain is built, a powerful tool for us is that's not real. Why do I feel guilty? I'm sitting at a table across from Jason right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not pouring liquor down my throat.
Right.
What are you doing right now, Sophia? You listening to a podcast contributing to your recovery?
Yeah.
Seeking spiritual principles?
Yes.
Tell me what you feel guilty about.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in the past, we don't regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. You'll have an opportunity to make that right when when you're ready. However, my mind, I can get lost in shame and I can get lost in guilt because that's the way my mind is built. The only time the ego can be prevalent is in my mind, in worry.
To me, guilt and shame is a narcissistic loop that I play in my head to be all about me.
It's the only time I can be in my mind.
It's so self-loathing and so spirit of Cain and so, God, can't you see my sacrifice? What I gave?
Yes.
It's so disgusting because and I'm talking about myself here because I have this where I like shame a lot because for me, shame is like, I get to be like, you piece of shit, Jason. Like, you're horrific. Like, I can't believe you did that. You did that to those people that you work with. You did that to your partner. You did that to your children. You're a fucking idiot. Like, what you shouldn't even exist. Like, shame can really take you some really dark places.
Absolutely.
And feeling overwhelmed is your ego playing tricks with you because your ego could get you to drink before. So it can't get you to drink maybe now, or it can't get you to whatever recovery program you're in or for drugs or whatever. So now it's going to do the next best thing. And that's getting you having that addict mind where you're going down the rabbit hole and thinking about yourself in a negative way over and over and over again. That's all that is.
I think it's good to reiterate also the guilt and shame are just more ways for me to think about myself. It's like I'm not much. I really fucked up bad, but I'm all I think about. And it's also important to understand, Sophia, if you enter a recovery program with the appropriate guidance, with the appropriate leadership, with the appropriate mentor, you're not going to be stumbling around in the dark. Like when I'm just trying to address my crazy head, but I have no spiritual tools, I'm lost. I'm stumbling around in the dark. So proper guidance and proper work helps us in a deliberate way start to address this shame, start to address this guilt. A lot of it is action-based. A lot of it is faith-based. A lot of it is like repair harm done based. Like I rebuilt those relationships and now I no longer have guilt about the harm I caused my mother.
Yes.
And I can look her in the eye. She doesn't call the cops when I'm at her house. She kissed me on the cheek because she got her son back. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel guilty anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a rebuilding process in regards to these.
Well, that's the
things
old
too.
Dwayne anyways. That
Yeah,
Dwayne does not exist.
He does not exist anymore.
By cellular level, biological level, everything about that Dwayne is gone.
Yeah.
That's why the past is an illusion.
So it's also important just to say, don't rush the process, trust the process. And these two can be dissolved. They can fall by the side here.
I always like to find when it comes to addicts, including myself, because I always play victim, I like to find wording where there's the victim. Like with Marcus, we found some. With Sophie, she says, how can I cope with these feelings? So cope is an interesting word. It's just dealing with it. You don't need to just deal with it. You can we just had an alchemy. You can transmute that where you do not have guilt and shame.
Very good. That's a lot better.
Or
than
you
coping.
can catch it when it hits really quick and be like, that's not me.
That's not real.
I don't, like you always say, I don't swim in that shit.
I don't swim in that shit. That's not real.
Yeah, the guilt and shame, it's out. I'm recovering. I'm a new person. I'm 2.0.
Yes.
The Jason 1.0 would fucking be feeling sorry for herself and have self-pity, but not today. I got shit to do.
That's powerful. That's discipline. And that's also freedom.
Yeah, that's healing.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Sophia. I just wanted to say her name again. From Alex. Okay, here we go. Dwayne and Jason, in your journey. Oh, they're asking about our journey. So I have like food addiction, narcissism, all that. Dwayne's alcoholic, cocaine use, right? Mainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's our journeys.
Yeah.
How did you find purpose and meaning in life beyond addiction? Why don't you go first? Purpose and meaning in life beyond.
Absolutely. You know, in my drinking, I did not have purpose. Waking up every day was miserable. I hurt a lot of people. And it got to a point of such destruction that I would rather not wake up. Like I didn't have a good reason for existing. Again, with appropriate guidance, with appropriate recovery, with leadership, you know, with these mentors, with spiritual principles, I'm very lucky that I'm standing on the shoulders of the men that came before me. And I have had some excellent teachers, some excellent spiritual guides in my life. One of the first things they taught me right away was go help somebody else.
Yes.
Go be of service.
Yes.
Go be of service. Go be of service. I didn't know that that's what they were teaching me. They told me to wash coffee cups. And I was like, I didn't even drink the coffee. Why would I do that? And I didn't know.
This is Karate Kid shit.
I didn't know what they were teaching me. They were teaching me to be of service.
Right.
And then we get real specific that I actually have a primary reason for recovering. My primary reason is to be of service to others. They gave me a purpose. And it felt so good on the inside. I started to like the man I was more and more, the more service I partook in. And it was a new lease on life. It was like a complete 180. Can I come to the table trying to offer something?
Because that was something that you did 13 years ago was, you know, be of service, do the coffee and stuff. Can you talk about what you did this summer during the weekend when you guys had a big, you know, like everybody, all these addicts got together and stuff, and you got up early in the morning, and what did you do?
We just honored the tradition, and we got up at the same place, up in Taos,
right?
Same hotel. It was the same big weekend event. And we made coffee,
and you served,
and we're of service to hundreds of people that were going to come, that were going to be there, and you know it's a very powerful thing because the people that I was with 13 years ago, they're still there today. And we gather and we hold hands and we pray when the sun is coming up over the mountain. And the main prayer is, God, help me be of service to somebody else. And that service gives me purpose. It gives me meaning. And then you have to understand there's an evolution to this. There's a process. There's this alchemical transformation that takes place over time. If I'm not applying the same principle in my daily life, what's the fucking point?
Yes.
Can I be of service in traffic? Come on in, buddy. Come on in. I don't need to cause an accident.
Right.
Oh, it's a grandma who can't even see over her steering wheel. Why am I trying to run her off the road? Can I be of service to my family? My son's walking around in a dirty diaper. Babe, you got to change the baby. It's like, he's right there. He's uncomfortable. Be of service to the little guy. Help him out. That gives me purpose. I can have purpose in my family. There's trash on the floor at work. pick it up, be of service, provide a clean environment where people feel safe, ready to participate. It's like, oh my God, I can be of service at work. Now this idea gets so big, I can take that everywhere I go. Mm-hmm. I walk around with purpose all day long.
Yeah, and there was a guy a long time ago that led this and taught this and actually lived it. And his name was Jesus. And he's pretty badass.
He's a little badass.
I mean, there's no one, Michael Jackson, Kim Kardashian, there's no one as famous as Jesus.
That's so funny.
And his whole life was full of service.
Absolutely.
That was his whole life until he was killed. And in his process of dying,
oh my gosh,
he was full of service. You want meaning and purpose? I think what you said was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Isabella, what are the most effective ways to deal with the stigma of addiction in social and professional settings? And this is something else, and she had went a little bit farther in this, and so I want to share this part. She's talking about like feeling bad. She was talking about feeling bad when people know she's an addict and she's around, like, or they think that she may, like, getting a job. You know, she feels like she's not she's not fully recovered. She's trying. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since she's had drugs. But when she goes for a job interview, she feels like she's an addict sitting there and she's lesser than.
Oh, very good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The boss or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not worthy enough to get this job, to better my life. Does that make sense? I think that question is more.
Absolutely.
The stigma is that.
Absolutely. Yeah. This fear of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of our teachings are some of the teachings that I've been exposed to that I really like. Is, these 4 major fears that hold us back. The fear of being fundamentally flawed. Mm-hmm. There's something wrong with me at a fundamental level. I'm an addict. I mess things up. The fear of being a burden. I cause so much harm with my addiction. My existence is a burden to others. And if I'm unconscious, that can spill over into new adventures. Mm-hmm. It's like if any of my expansion is going to be a further burden, so I'm going to stay small.
And
have a low opinion of myself.
Yes.
The fear of leaving others behind and the fear of outshining others. This is a Gay Hendricks teaching. Mm-hmm. Those two don't really apply in regards to sitting in front of a boss. But the first two definitely do. And I have this fear of being a burden. I have this fear of being fundamentally flawed. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, they're not going to pick me. Yeah.
Maybe, there are a lot of different approaches to this one. One approach is you don't know it now, but that addiction holds the potential to be my greatest asset. Mm-hmm. It's actually what makes me useful in the world.
That's so great.
You don't know that now. Mm-mm. But if you continue down the path, if you continue down a spiritual examination, a spiritual expansion, who knows who you're going to help? Who knows how useful you're going to be? You might end up helping that boss you're sitting across from who's got cocaine in his desk. Yeah. And you didn't even... You got no idea.
That's so good. That's
you got
so good.
no idea
that's,
what
I've seen
God
that over and over
has
again.
in store for you. Mm-hmm. So part of that is just walking through some fear. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not real. That's my mind trying to keep me small. Mm-hmm. You do deserve the job. You do deserve to shine. You do deserve a good life that's worth living. And, I in my addiction, I stayed small enough. I'm not willing to stay small anymore. Mm-mm. It's like, don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to be your authentic self. And if you get, bad energy because of who you are, a recovering person, then that's not the spot for you anyways.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to what you said. I want to kind of give you a practical help here, a tool that has helped me. When you're sitting in your car, get there. Make sure you get there early so you're not late. Get there 20 minutes early. Sit in your car for 15 minutes and do this. I'm telling you, it will change your life, Isabella, if you do this, if you're going around to job interviews. Imagine the person that you want to be in that job. Imagine and I'm talking specifics. Say, I know this job is about this. I'm going to be in the office and I'll be talking to these people and I'm going to be helping and I'm going to be a ton of service. And I'm going to like, if they need copies, I'm going to do that. I'm going to, if it's in a kitchen, I'm going to make sure I'm busy and I'm cooking and I'm studying the craft. And when I go home at night, I'm learning how to cook these extra things. And then, whatever it may be, imagine the best version of yourself doing that work. And then go into the interview.
Powerful.
Because you're bringing your higher self into that interview. And there's no reason, unless you have a record or something they ask about that, there's no reason to talk about your addiction.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You don't throw your, I like what you just said, your pearls before swine.
Very good. Yeah.
You don't know this person yet. You know what I mean? Once you get to know them and you establish a relationship of trust, then you can mention those things. But you're going to a job interview. It's not, plus all those things that you're thinking about is me, I.
Yeah.
Be of service to the boss.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, what does he want? Ask him questions. Like, what would you, I've done, dude, because we had 136 employees at dealerships. And so I was always hiring and firing. It was very rare if somebody would ask me questions.
I bet. Yeah.
Like, hey, I just have a few questions. Can I ask you some questions? Yeah. Never got that. It'd be like, what do you really, like, if somebody would have said, what are you really looking for in this position? What are some of the things that's really important to you, Jason, in this position?
The performance of this position.
Yeah. Any of those type of questions, I'd have been like, you're hired.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's powerful, man. And in the same vein, what you're saying is, open the door for God first.
Oh, 100%.
Invite God into that interview. And if you're not supposed to be there, you invited God in.
But that interview, whether it went bad, was the step that you needed to take to be the new you.
Absolutely.
And if you failed at that interview, guess what? There's 100 more.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Absolutely.
And you should be proud of yourself for going to the interview and being there on time and having that prayer. And who gives two fucks what the results is? Yeah. Let God figure that out.
They're very powerful.
Just put that inner being fucking step by step in those shoes and move on, and you'll be good. Okay, Muhammad, this is one of our international peeps. We have a lot of people from we have the drinking countries, like Ireland. Ireland is number 2.
Oh God.
Muhammad, can you share insights on maintaining sobriety in a world where substance use is often glamorized and normalized? I thought this was interesting. Good question. As far as like you go on social media and there's parties, and Muhammad's young. So, and you experienced that in your early 20s, seeing it being glamorized, parties, all that stuff at Taos.
The rich and famous. If you can't do cocaine and have a fucking vodka soda, who are you?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I got as close to dying as I ever want to get from my addiction. So it's like, take it, do as much. It's just not for me anymore. Mm-hmm. I fought that battle countless times. And I lost. So when I admit defeat, I'm not necessarily as interested in putting forth this facade of I need to fit in. It's like, you don't need to fucking fit in. You're different, motherfucker. You can't fit in. If you were supposed to be in that crowd, you would be.
Yes.
And I lost. I just lost that fight, and I'm not willing to enter the ring anymore. That doesn't mean we can't go places to have fun. A nice rule of thumb is, do I have an appropriate motive for being there? Mm-hmm. Can I be of service in this situation? I'm going to a wedding to honor my cousin who's getting married, and I can be there and stand for her. That's a great reason to go to a party. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean I need to down a gallon of vodka, because that's what I would do. So check my motive. If I have a good motive for being there, go ahead and go. And then, it's just helpful for me. It's like, sure, the world normalizes this type of behavior, but I'm not normal.
What is normal anyways?
Well, I'm not normal, man. Like I have this thing called addiction. I have this thing that a lot of people don't have. Those people we call normies. It's like, I'm not that. So I need a little bit more extra attention.
Yeah, they're fighting some other battle. And that's something you don't realize. He used the word glamorize. Mm-hmm. If you go to a club and it's the real expensive, let's go to like some real expensive club in Dubai or whatever. And you could actually see inside these people's heads and see the trauma and the things that they're going through. There's no glamorization in a human.
No.
There's no You're glamorizing because you're taking something that you think that you're missing out on. And you have to get to the point of what you define as fun.
Yeah.
The old you thought fun was going to the club, getting drunk. But really, you're glamorizing it, and this is something that happens. What really happened? What really happened was a girl looked at you. You could have had your chance with her, but you got too drunk. 1, you couldn't get it up. 2, you were puking. 3, your friends had to pull you off of a guy because you got in a fight with. Those are the real stories.
Yeah.
You never even had a chance with the girl because your addiction would fucked you over.
The normal people took the girl home.
Yeah, the normal people. Yeah, exactly.
That's not us.
Yeah. So it's just because people will glamorize and skip all the bad.
Yeah.
You know, we do that in our past sometimes, and it's like, no. Embrace the shit that happened. Now, if you want to go to a club because I love EDM music.
Sure.
But I don't need to drink when I go to the club.
Right.
I enjoy the music.
Yeah.
And if I want to go talk to somebody, I don't need alcohol to say hello to them.
And you have a good reason for being there, the joy of it.
Yeah, and I'm going to go there because this person looked at me and I looked at them and they're nice, and I'm just going to go say hello. I don't need a pickup line. There's no thing I need to do. It's a human with another human, spiritual.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you look at everybody as kind of just spiritual little beings that are trying to figure shit out, it's not a big deal anyway. There's no glamorization.
I love that.
Yeah, we're all the same.
Takes
Kim
the edge
Kardashian takes a shit just as much as I do. You know what I mean?
And it really takes the edge off.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I have these people on a pedestal?
Yes.
If my higher power is another person, another individual,
Yes.
a glamorized individual, they're going to let me down.
Yeah, no,
It's like they're just human. It's not real. It's not real. So, you know, you got to kind of twist the perspective here.
Yes.
I'm not interested in a glamorized existence. I'm interested in a genuine, meaningful, powerful, successful existence.
And that's maintaining sobriety. And that's how you get away from those for now until you can handle those situations.
Correct.
Don't be involved in them.
Correct.
Don't go to the clubs. Don't hang out in the bars. Get out of your scene.
Very
Find
good.
a new
Very good.
environment. Okay, Clara. She said, how do you manage the fear of relapse, and what steps do you take when you feel that fear is becoming overwhelming?
Powerful question. Good.
The fear starts to happen. So you're like freaking yourself out because you're like, oh my God, I think I'm going to relapse. It's fear. It's like fucking yourself over.
Totally. Yeah, you're screwing yourself. Yes. This took a long time for me to understand. Clara, maybe you'll be able to hear it, and hope, God willing, it will resonate with all of our listeners. But it's such a helpful tool for me. I didn't get it until like I was 6 years sober, which is a long time. But it's I was told, you're trying to deal with something you can't deal with. You're trying to deal with something you can't deal with. If I was big enough to deal with my addiction, I would have fucking done it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have healed myself a long time ago.
Well, you wouldn't have had an addiction.
I wouldn't have had it. It wouldn't have been an issue for me. So I'm trying to deal with something I can't deal with. I don't have the appropriate power to deal with my addiction. Therefore, the fear of relapse creeps into my life. That's the corrosive thread weaving its way through the fabric of our entire existence. What steps do you take when you feel the fear becoming overwhelming? You get in touch with the appropriate power.
Something that is bigger than that fear.
Very good. God is a great a word choice here. Consciousness, shoes of inner being, creator, universe.
Whatever,
We use many terms because any one term limits it. It's bigger than my human brain can comprehend, but I believe I'm connected to it. And so whatever that is for you, start asking that for help. The mantra for me, the prayer for me was, God, relieve me of this obsession. God, relieve me of this obsession. And we've said this before, but it's nice to say again. I believe that repetition can retrain my thinking.
Yes.
So I don't believe that I always have to have a fearful response to the substance I was addicted to.
Yes.
I believe I can have a neutral response. I know I can have a neutral. It can mean nothing. It can be lifted from me, but that power does that. Dwayne did not do that. I would have done it a long time ago.
I think another helpful thing that I do because fear is a big one for me.
Oh yeah.
Is I catch it now as like an alchemical trigger that I'm not as close to God as I should be. So I have to, I'm going to use an analogy of like, because this is how I figured it out for me, was I'm a Tesla car and I need to recharge. and I'm getting low on my battery.
Perfect.
So when fear hits me, it's time to go to the recharge station, because the recharge station has tons of power.
Yeah.
It can recharge hundreds of cars a day. It's got unlimited power. It's always there. It's ready to, and it easily plugs in. There's no mess. It's just ready to charge. And that's how God is, And so when I just look at it as like, oh, I'm being fearful. Oh, okay. I've gone down the ego path. I've turned my back, or I'm going paddling upstream, and I just need to turn towards God. Yes. And how you do that practice is up to you. It could be meditation. It could be, for me, prayer. Just calling out to God, like, hey, God, I'm being fearful about this, and it's really dumb. And I'm having a lot of anxiety over this, or I'm feeling depressed about this. Can you show me what lesson I need to learn in this? Can you show me steps that I can do right now? And God will always reveal himself to you in his timing.
Yes.
And I'm saying his or her universe or whatever, don't get into all that technicalities. No. But for me, it's always been like, okay, yeah, here I am, and here's the answer. Or no, you need to struggle a little bit, and then I want you to see the answer.
Yeah.
Through the struggle. So sometimes you get and the clouds open up, and then sometimes you get the Jonah in the well, or the
yep, you're in the belly.
You're in the belly.
You're with the beast. And
you learn. Both are learning.
It's good to reiterate for this question as well. Proper guidance is so important when you're trying to navigate recovery. Otherwise, I'm stumbling around by myself. So having the appropriate mentor, having the appropriate spiritual guides, having the appropriate direction to head in many recovery programs, there's an entire section dedicated to fear.
Yes.
And you really start looking at it, you really start picking it apart, and you really start taking responsibility for why this fear exists. And the more I do that, the more and more it dissipates.
Yeah, I want to, with Ethan, this next question, I really want to go hard on this one with some of the comments that we've been getting. And I want to address this, and Joanne, you can back me up on this. It says, what role do you think mental health plays in addiction? How can we address both simultaneously?
Yes.
To take somebody's mental health, whether you're on the left and you're a Democrat, or whether you're on the right and a Republican, if you're here in the United States, or wherever there's left and right, and to politicize mental health. Our comments are like, with some of our stuff that we see, that we have on YouTube. I mean, I could click the comments and it'll show them. It's like, well, there's no such thing as mental health. Blah, blah, blah. This is the left. This is woke. Or I'll get another comment and be like, it's all mental health. And, they just don't know who they are and their identity. It's like bullshit for both.
Yeah.
You politicize something that somebody's going through, and we all have mental health issues. You don't, if you have addiction, technically and scientifically, that's a mental health issue.
Absolutely.
Period. There's mental health means there's something fucked up in your brain.
Yeah.
That you need to figure out. And whether you're born with it or whether it's a disease, the disease one's really big. We get tons of comments from conservative, ultra right-wing people that are like, it's not a disease, blah, blah, blah. It's a choice. How about it's both? There's genetically people that are more susceptible to addiction, as there are people that have genetic dispositions to have more fat around their belly.
Sure.
We were talking about that earlier today. There's tons of genetic dispositions about all kinds of stuff. Are you a fucking neuroscientist?
No.
Exactly. We don't know the thing. All I know is that there are addicts out there that have mental health issues that need help.
Right.
And what do? We're of service.
Yeah.
So for me, what do you think mental health plays in addiction? I'm not going to answer this in a political way at all.
No.
Like everybody has, and I think everybody has some certain kind of form of spectrum of mental health. Like some people have high anxiety, some people have tendency towards depression, some people have they're too crazy with their emotions, and then get real happy and then real sad. I mean, there's so much. We have so much variety. To pigeonhole somebody, Jordan Peterson talks about this, to pigeonhole somebody with one thing and then try to label them that.
Yeah.
With one label, whether it's a sexual preference or whether it's a mental health thing or whatever. I don't want a fucking label.
Good. And it does
God.
It does them no service.
Yes.
It just makes me feel comfortable because now I can label you.
I have God in me. That is who I am. That's who I radiate. And my addiction is just this old pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, and a mental health means I'm not in connection with God.
Very good. Yeah, exactly right.
It's so stupid. It just pisses me off. Sorry. About
No, I love it. I'm going to just piggyback on what you said, man. And
I'll keep quiet after this.
no, the in regards to there being this array of possible issues,
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously, there's an array of help available to me.
Yes.
So the suggestion and the like realistic approach from a recovery standpoint is it is foolish not to take advantage of as much wisdom and help that's available to me as possible. If you have mental health issues, go see a psychiatrist, go see a therapist, go to church, go do whatever
Meetings,
practice,
whatever.
Meetings, I mean, not just that, do them all.
Yeah.
So then you kind of start figuring out what works well for you.
Yeah, this is so good.
Yeah,
I want you to talk
so-
about this because I had another comment with somebody that was saying in YouTube. They were saying, well, the programs are like a year or 2 years out, and they're not helping people. What the fuck are you doing with that year or two? Yeah, okay, sign up for the program, and yeah, it's going to be a year before you're in the program, but do it all before then. There's so many opportunities. Alex Ramsey said this, and I thought it was so good. He says the reason that you're not seeing the opportunities is because you're being fucking ignorant.
Powerful. Yeah.
It's ignorance.
Yeah.
Because how many opportunities is out there for your addiction? Online. You could go to an online meeting
Oh, yes.
24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. You got no excuse
You could
anymore.
go to the next. Can you walk your ass to a meeting? Of course, there's one right around your area.
Yep.
Can you read books and study materials?
Can you look up self-help on YouTube? It's in my fucking pocket.
Here's one here.
I walk around with the solution all the time. And really, what you touched on also, Jason, is those practices, no matter what they are, usually get me back to God.
100%.
We don't care too much about the discipline.
No.
Usually the goal is to come back to God. God is still the solution. Yes. God is still the answer. This is a spiritual solution.
And stop playing victim.
Yeah.
Because you have a meeting. I mean, you have a thing you have to wait a year.
And really, we just call you a double winner. It's like, God, you get to take your anti-anxiety meds and go to recovery. It's like, wow, exactly. You win twice.
Yeah.
It's like you need to avail yourself to as much wisdom as possible so you can have the most beautiful life that's available for you. You just got to take action.
Yeah, and I, some of these questions, Ethan, I don't know how this question was proposed, but we will, at Recovered Addict, you're going to see some stuff that's going to sound like we're from the left, and you're going to see some stuff from the right. You know why? Because we're God conscious.
Right.
And that's what our standard is, not the fucking donkey or a fucking...
Right.
Whatever. What's the other one? Donkey is
elephant.
An elephant or a donkey.
We throw the whole bird out, yeah.
In eternity, here we go. That perspective. Yes. Let's macro. Let's go. In eternity, what is a Republican or Democrat?
Don't matter.
Nothing.
Don't fucking matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My connection to God is what matters today.
Cool. We're gonna do these next few. For sake of time, we're just gonna do a few more. We'll do 2 more if that's fine, and then we'll do these again, guys. If you like them, let us know in the comments if you like this, and we'll do more of them. This is from Grace. Love the name. How do you navigate the challenges of the recovery process when it felt like progress was slow or non-existent?
Get used to trudging. Part of this is just my perspective. What do you mean by progress? What do you mean by non-existent? I was in the fucking gutter bleeding.
Yeah.
I have shoes on. I was wearing one pair of shoe. I was wearing one pair of shoe covered in my own blood in the snow, freezing.
So where are you at now? Oh,
I own multiple businesses.
Yeah.
I have 2 shoes on my feet.
Yeah.
I have a vehicle with 4 fucking wheels.
Yeah.
It's insured. I have a phone that works. I have a job. I have multiple jobs. I have a family. I have people. Like, what am I focusing on? What is this non-existent progress? It's like, no, my life is a complete 180. I can have a complete 180 in 1 month.
Yes.
Compared to a serious night of drinking.
Yes.
Or a serious night of drug use.
I think what you said, perspective, is so powerful. But for me, that perspective is gratitude.
Yes.
Oh, guess what? A month ago, I was bloody and I had 1 shoe on.
Yeah.
In the snow. Now I'm drinking a cup of coffee in a warm building, sitting around 5 other brothers and sisters.
And I'm not dying.
That's a lot of progress.
That's huge progress.
You went from a -10, almost dying, to a 1 or a 2. You just shot up like 8 things on the scale.
That takes place in like a couple hours. You know what I mean? Like maybe 24, 72 hours.
It's slow or non-existent because you don't have gratitude.
Powerful.
That, to me, that's what that one.
You're breathing.
Yeah.
That's better.
Start looking for those wins, because there's wins. Every day's a win as an addict.
Yeah.
If you fucking go 24 hours.
I should be dead.
Yeah, you should be dead. 1, and number 2, good. Congratulations, you're in traffic. Well, guess what? That means you're alive.
Yeah.
There was some motherfucker that died in his addiction every probably few minutes.
Yep, exactly.
So it's just a gratitude thing there. Liam, we'll do this last one, then we'll go. In your experience, how important is the support network, and what advice do you have for someone who feels they have no one? This kind of goes back with the other one. Okay, how important is the support network? It's number 1.
Absolutely.
You would not be where you're at, Dwayne, with sure will.
No.
And gritting it and doing it on your own. How important was those brothers and sisters that helped you in your recovery?
You can't put a price on it. It saved my life, and I could not have done it alone. Hands down. Like, that's just the fact. A thief is not going to teach me how to stop stealing. And when I'm trying to get sober or stop my addiction, that same mind is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to get outside help. I need to get an outside perspective that's not so raw to the situation and the pain and the hurt and the trauma. And that outside help, they're supposed to say, I know that darkness really well because I've been there too. Let me show you how we walked into the light. And that is so freeing. And that gave me a whole new existence, and it wouldn't have been possible. And then, that self-pity, I'm not much, but I'm all I think about.
Yeah.
That's that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That's that bullshit. I have no one. All you got to do is stick your hand out, and you're going to have a fucking team.
Yes.
You'll be blown away. So, God relieve me of my self-pity. God relieve me of my fear. Get out there and take some action. You'll be blown away with how many people are willing to help, because the right people know it's helping that saves their ass.
Yes.
And they're willing to do it. I swear to God.
That's what you do. You help people.
They're willing to do it.
So,
you will be blown away. Take some action, man.
Yeah, and Liam, and I want to tell you this too. If you feel like there's no one and you don't have a support network, you're not. The number one thing I think that you could do is pray for one and then make action.
Absolutely.
But you should be like, God, send me someone to help me with my recovery. God, send me someone. You should be praying that 100 times a day. And also, you have somebody that's there for you called Google. And you can look up meetings.
Yep.
You can look online and say, I'm going to this meeting right now. I feel uncomfortable. I'm nervous and I'm an introvert, whatever. But God, give me the strength to go to the meeting. God, give me somebody that can help me.
Yeah.
He's not going to let you down. You're going to find someone. Obviously, too, we're talking to you, Liam.
Yeah, you got.
So there's no one.
2 jackasses right here talking to you.
Yeah, 2 addicts right here. You got podcast. I mean, how many mentors do we have?
I love it. We call them that. Yeah.
When's the last time you had lunch with Jordan Peterson?
Oh, today.
Yeah.
Yeah, today.
You didn't hang out with him and eat a burger with him.
No.
But what did you do for an hour?
Did you know that I have a Harvard education
Yeah,
from
exactly.
Jordan Peterson? Because I choose to tap into the solution. I choose to just open up my phone and seek spiritual development.
You're spending hours.
Responsibility development.
How many hundreds of hours have you listened to Jordan Peterson?
Hundreds.
He's your mentor.
Did you know that I learned from Eckhart Tolle?
Yes.
Did you know Eckhart Tolle? Did
Oprah
you know
Winfrey.
that Oprah Winfrey? And did you know that Joe Dispenza has helped you and I?
You know that Oprah Winfrey, guys, and Eckhart Tolle helped you in your worst part of addiction, right?
I listened to it hundreds and hundreds of times. 10-part series, A New Earth.
It's on YouTube. So that's why you have it's you thinking you have no one. There's tons of people all around you, but have prayer for that. Well, guys, we can't go through all these. We're going to do another one of these. I think it was awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comments, Dwayne. They were powerful.
You too, bro. You too.
Yeah. And I want each of you to know that this is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we say some rough words and we challenge you to take responsibility and take action, but that comes from practical experience from us, and it comes from love for you.
100%. Unique. The number one thing that an addict needs is clarity.
Yeah, let's get clear on my roadmap to
Yes,
success.
let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely.